Okay. Um, Compartir la pantalla. Okay, hello. Welcome to the Finance Legal Applicants Chat. Here is your Jennifer Calderon. I'm your MCVP Finance and also MCP Alex. So I'm very excited to give this chat to you. So first of all, this is like the topics I'm going to cover here in the chat based on like current status and also some of the questions I got from you and this spreadsheet. So the talks are going to be finance standards, entity sustainability, finance legal network, GDPR implementation, financial model, and like main strategies we're having today that I think should be continued in the future for our next term. So first, finance standards. So I'm here going to show you this is the GFB report until November. This is the last one we got. So you will see here mostly like the 6 finance standards, and here also like sustainability divided and risk management, HR, financial indicators, entity, and product sustainability. As you can see, for example, we've been improving mostly in our financial standards, having, for example, what is reporting, budgeting, and auditing as no, as reporting, budgeting, and accounting as our highest. And of course, as main bottlenecks is of course sustainability, as it is in main entities, having of course entity sustainability and product sustainability. I'm going to explain more the reasons behind it. Also, for you to know, I implemented as a local strategy some like local finance standards for LCs, which are more or less the same that as the global ones, and you will find the booklet for this in the resource hub in the application folder. So basically, as you see here, we have very high like finance standard implementation in LCs. But one thing that should be noted is that in here is according to the answers we have for our LCs in a survey we have for them called SONA. So they answer yes, no, you have it or not have it. But right now we don't have a system to actually check how good are they actually implemented, because yes, they may be more or less implemented it, but how healthy is really like our LCs financially according to these finance standards, and not only saying like yes or no, do we have it or don't have it. Then, okay, so I'm going to go a little bit over each finance standard to explain more or less the bottlenecks and improvement points. So, for example, for legality, professional legal advice, yes, we have the lawyers, but these lawyers are specifically for legal projects we're managing now, like for our legal status as an entity, migration status, and this stuff, but are not specifically like lawyers of Isaac in Costa Rica, so we cannot use them for any necessity we have. And we don't have, for example, a lawyer inside our board of advisors, which is something I would actually recommend a lot to have for next term. Then the contracts process standardization. We have a very standardized process for OGV and IGV, and more or less IG. But for example, any other contract that you might need, saying anything for the partners, for university relations, is not completely standardized right now. And for the other contracts that are standardized, we get LCs that do not have like their contracts on time all the time. So they make the approved, for example, in OGV, and then it passes a lot of time until they bring the contracts to sign here in the MC. Then GDPR, I'm not going to go a lot of deep in GDPR right now because I have later more explanation for this, but our implementation has not been our focus. Then local compendiums, we have not standards a standardized local compendium. We're working on it right now, but mostly what is lacking is the part of financial management in our LCs. Then national governance membership criteria. We recently changed our membership criteria in August. So when we started the MC Brave term, and we've been having like new checks for the like new checklist for our entities, which is meaning that our LCs has been going from full membership to not and this kind of stuff based on the new criteria. So the local implementation of the criteria has been a challenge for our new LCs. Then accounting. So challenges for the accounting system. So we last term started the switch for from accounting in an Excel spreadsheet to an actual accounting software, which we're using right now. We use QuickBooks. And in MC Brave term, what we did is we started downscaling the accounting system also on the local level because before it was just on the MC level. Okay. But we still have some problems on the adaptability of the LCs to this system to actually put every transaction they do in the system. Um, then electronic, like because we asked for them to do it, but we don't have a system to actually check they're doing it correctly. Then the electronic invoices and receipts. So last year, specifically in the months from September to November, the country legally we need to have electronic invoices and receipts for everything. For even if you bought a sandwich, we need an electronic invoice. Okay, you need invoice for absolutely everything. We have the systems like the software systems to do it, and we've been implemented it, but we don't have a basically like process to receive the electronic invoices to upload it into the accounting software. And this is very important because it's a national law. We need to have compliance. We've been managing until now, but we need to improve a lot. Then the tracking of the correct accounting process. So this is more or less on the point one, mostly on the local level, because on national level we have an accountant who takes care of the accounting of the MC. And finally, education in the network, because we don't have a much pipeline and as a finance network, as a topic I'm going to cover later. But every time we have new VPs or new members who are doing accounting, we have to do education from zero. And yeah, basically this is another challenge you have to take. Then reporting. Okay, so reporting is actually not so bad. We actually have good reporting. Something we could, because we have the reporting and our financial statements done by a professional accountant, so we have everything this covered in this sense. But for example, from the NC level, we need to cover more on the reports template they use to make them more data driven for mostly decision making for them. Also, education on the level of the network of how to report and what to report for people, like because it's not the same to have a report for financiers and for an LCP or an EV who need to also understand the financial reports to take decisions under an EV. And then the alignment with the accounting, because they basically report general uses of their financial resource, but they don't know the go into details as in being the accountant. And for example, the accounting software we use right now lets you have very specific reports, but our VPs are currently not using them. Then budgeting. Okay, so some stuff basically budget approval by EV. So we get our MC approved by the VOP, the LDLCPs before our term starts, and then the change of replanning. And what happens is we also want our EVs, our VP Finance, to approve their budget by all the whole EVs. So the EV is currently aware of what's the budget it was included and what's not. So this is something that is starting to happen. Then include the investments inside the budget. This is a conversation we've been having since we started our term as MC Brave, like how we get more an investment mindset within our EVs, because right now it's just like budget controlling. And the first conversation is how the investments are included since the beginning in their budget. Like for example, like international conferences, health and investments in membership or in products. Okay, then financial management of the LCs, basically on so they can know like what how much money, yes, they have in the account, but exactly how much they have to spend, how much of them is in the reserves, and we have a proposal for to have funds to divide this. I'm going to explain later. Then the budget for products and experience. So to have a separate budget for the experience of each product to assure we are covering at least the cost for each product and then cost and standardization for each product. And I'm going to explain also later as a strategy we have, and I'm going to show you which are the current costs. Then auditing. Okay, so we have an internal auditing process that is basically an ECV audit or legal audit for documents for EPs, and then we have an audit in our monthly SONA, that is a survey, as I explained, the EVs field, and we have a document to ask them like about the transactions they do, why are they doing it, the amounts and sustainability of their products, and we are currently trying to implement a full internal auditing process to also be aware that they're legally complying about contracts, about other legal processes, about the sustainability of their products. And we started this in November, but the implementation has been not quite good on the local level. And then we have the ECB audit, that is the oldest audit we've had since ever our ECB has been audited. But the problem right now is the LCs are not currently passing the auditing process because the new ECB changed the criteria is not only presenting the documents, but the documents being presented in a good manner that you can actually read information that is very specific things that are asking for, and the LCs are currently not passing in most part. And this is actually a membership criteria. So we probably will have problem in membership criteria later for this. Then local internal audit, they are currently not having at all. So this is just not happening. And the SONA, this is our best way to know exactly what is happening in our LC. So this is, as I told you, how we audit financial movements or other, in general, for other areas as well, like every product, PM, and everything has questions included in the SONA. But this is the main thing we get financial information from our LCs. Then we have sustainability. I'm going to go very fast on this, and then I'm going to explain sustainability in each case. So national education cycle. So basically, we last and in the past we haven't had like very high education on finance just for the finance network. So something we're going to implement this semester, I'm going to show it to you later also, is a national education cycle for the finance for everyone. So everyone actually needs to know a basis of finance. Then we have risk management and risk log. So we have a risk log where we state every possible risk and action plan for the MC on a national level, and we're currently implemented on the local level. And also, as I told you, financial pipeline. This is like for membership. We don't have that. The network is not that big, and every time we need to elect VPs, it's very common to have VPs finance with no previous experience. Okay, so these are like the bottlenecks in each one of their finance standards. Okay, so now going specifically on sustainability. So entity sustainability, as you can see here, in the last months, we are entity sustainability level 1, where we are MC sustainability level 2 and LC sustainability level 1. Okay, so this is basically why we're level 1 as an entity is mostly because of LC sustainability. And here you can see our sustainability levels by product. By when we have an IGV that is 0, our OGV and IGT are 2. We do not run OGT or OGs, or is not reported. And level 1 IG, I'm going to explain the reasons here. And here, for example, you have the level trends on our products on our MC and LCs. Okay, so here you see that what is causing problems is when, yes, we can cover an LLC level direct cost, but the total costs, like other types of investments, like in membership or other things like conferences, is what goes down to the sustainability level of the LLCs. Okay, because they really focus much on covering direct costs for products, and they don't do much else. And then on the MC level goes, the sustainability goes 1 and level 2 as well, mostly because we run as MC IGT, which is a very good source of revenue for us. Okay. So to explain to you how the sustainability works inside the MC and LC levels, so the sustainability of the MC mostly comes from our entity fees. We have a new financial model that was legislated in August with our new MC, but the financial model we're having right now has a 2-year change management because we do understand that financial management need to be like managed delicately. um, we have IGT, which, as I told you, give us very very good revenue. But the bottleneck of the products I'm going to explain later is the financial planning. So we get a lot of revenue, but we do not allocate it in the best way to my like in my opinion. And we have had set like a lot of much better investment mindset inside like our MC when we prioritize like investments for our entity rather than just simply like we paying for stuff like continuously. Of course we do it, we pay like for salaries and MC house and office and this kind of stuff, but we have also like increased investment for like international representation, all the Fil de Pura Vida brand and other things we've been like focusing on. Okay, if I have LC level, then we have financial management. This is the bottleneck because yes, they do know how to manage their budget, but sometimes they struggle like when to spend or when not, or when to invest and when not. And then we have the education. As I told you, we usually have very new VPs finance with no like previous background, and this is a very very common thing in our entity. So this is something we need to tackle a lot. Then we have investment mindset in our EVs because they yes do want to invest, and especially the new EVs that are coming have a lot this mindset like they do want to invest in our LCs, invest in their membership, their EVs, their products, but they do not know how to, and this is why they feel scared sometimes of how do I do this, how to implement this, how do I keep track, how do I know this is not like using up my money. I'm not going to have money to pay the MC fee next month and these kind of things. Okay, and then basically the sustainability of the LCs is based on product sustainability because they do not run like PD or local or things. They like their sole income revenues come from their products. Okay, so if their products are not sustainable, they are of course not going to be sustainable as well. Okay, and for example the performance of the products is essential. So for example, to give you like clear examples, we had an LC this year that started their EV term with debts, like big debts for the with the MC that they've had like for 2 years. And in this year they focus a lot on their focus product with OGV that is very sustainable product and gives a lot of revenue, and now they are the LC that has the most months of financial reserves and more money in their account. So the performance of the products is very very essential. So if you want to know more, we have this is the bitly of the tool I use to keep track of all the financial indicators of our LC. So if you want to know specifically about each LC, is in there. I invite you to go. We're working on a new. This is 18.2, as you see. The 19.1 is going to be out soon, so I'm going to give it to you as soon as I have it. And then product sustainability. So for one of each products, we run a four products. I crossed out OGE and OGT. So IGV, OGV, IG, and IGT. I'm going to explain to you the sustainability status of each one of them. So of course, IGV. IGV is our least sustainable products, the sustainability level 0. I'm going to talk about the bottlenecks and the good parts also. So first of all, global home. So we run global home product, and most of our EPs go have host families. But sometimes when our LCs do not get the enough host families, they end up paying for accommodation, which is not in the pricing model. It is not considered, and it's usually not in the budget. So they're overspending in this because of not planning enough the global home campaign, and this happens literally every semester. So we either start including it in our budgets and our costs, or start a new like a strategy for global home campaigns. Then the financial planning. This is depends. We have LCs that have a very good financial planning of the experience or delivery, and others that do not have. So what happens here is that they do plan. If you do plan in advance, all your activities and everything you're going to need and spend and put it in a separate budget for each project and what do you need, then the financial sustainability of the product is good. We have LCs that are very good implementing this right now. Okay, and then we have the campaigns. We run the, for example, a Black Friday campaign for IGV, but running a campaign, discount campaign for IGV is very very complicated, like, because you need to make a lot of calculations if they're going to be sustainable or not. And what we did is like we tried to make also some like money makers for, let's say, to compensate the use of discount in IGV for the campaign, which is not exactly good because you lose focus on the product, but it lets you do these things as campaigns that is also strategic for growth and for volume. Um, then our most important thing, and I very, very advise you to approach to Kale or MCVP IGV, is a strategy of IGV as a social business. So this semester we're switching from having to just TN fee for the EPs to also include a fee for the NGOs we are and our stakeholders we're having. And this is for this semester, but the future of the product is just, there's just going to be a payment from the stakeholders and not from the EPs. But this is the future. Like for this term, we're still having like double because it's not going to be all the opens for IGV that is going to be to have this. But this is a whole strategy behind it. It has also MOI included, and I really, really advise you to approach to Kaler for this. Um, and then UCR, there is the LC that has the biggest volume. Why I do put this in the PPT is because, for example, in my opinion, an LC that's like UCR has such a big volume in IGV. If they had a correct financial planning, they could even have profits because the volume is so big. Okay, but the thing is, they run a very big volume in a project that is very not sustainable. That is, for example, Naturatica is very far away, is very expensive, and we have to pay the NGO, not the NGO to us. So we need to find a solution and a more like and and another way to have this project much more sustainable because this is much of their volume. So I advise you to talk to them also about this to get more information. Then RGB sustainability level 2 is the product for the biggest profit for the LCs, and this is why it's our focus products for them. Okay, so then we have campaign strategies. We do run campaign strategies, discounts mostly. We usually have, the last semester, we have almost one every month. We had IXP campaign, we have campaigns like Go with a Friends, Go with Two Friends, and we have, of course, Black Friday, which is our biggest and, in my opinion, most successful campaign um, until now. Then is run by all LCs. Is a financial support of the LCs. So growth in this product is a non-negotiable for the financial sustainability of their LCs. And also, is, of course, as I said, is our focus product. Then IGE. Okay, so the sustainability problem of IGE is the payment of the partner because the product itself is sustainable. It covers costs and covers indirect costs as well, but we have problems with late payment of the partners. So basically, this is the problem of sustainability of the projects. It's only run by UCR and Tech. We have run also packages campaign. So if you have one EP, it's $350. If you have 40 EPs, it's like 1,200, something like this. So it depends on the campaigns we're running for a certain period of time to have volume sales, of course. And also, the experience part delivery is run with IGV, and they also have viewable home problems the same as IGV. But since it's not run as a big volume with IGE, it's not the problem as big with IGV. And then finally, IGT. So the sustainability level 2 project is run only by the MC. It has the highest profit of all the products, but as I told you, it's only run by the MC. And the bottleneck is basically financial management. So basically, the product do has profit, but a big part of this profit is used to cover, for example, like late payments we have sometimes from the companies, or for example, like firefighting for EPs. We do not have until now like any quality case or anything, but mostly it runs like this, and all the delivery and everything is run by the MCVP only. Okay, so this is for the sustainability part. Then we have financial network. Okay, so this is going to be like, okay, strengths and challenges of the financial network right now. Okay, so we have our network actually right now is very, very like eager to learn. Like they really, really want to evolve in finance. They really want to do new things. And our current BPs, we have four BPs. And the interesting thing is we have one BP. This is former OGB, one former IGB, one former IG, and the other one was former yes member in finance. So we have every background, which I think is very interesting, especially since we really want to run a more investment mindset in our entity. Okay, and and also I really do think that our VPs and members right now have a high level of responsibility and integrity, which is very good, especially in the financial area. Then we have challenges. We have to process with functional knowledge, which, as you see, only one of our current VPs has previous background in finance. Then we have financial pipeline because the network is not very big, and Italy is a small network, and not a lot of, and we do have a lot all the time of new members. And in general, the entity, not talking specifically of the network of finance, but the entity like EVs, LCPs, have a very low understanding of finance. Okay, so this gives us a lot of challenges when we do have to run certain, like for example, campaigns or run investments, and they really don't know how to. Okay. Then GDPR. Okay, GDPR is very interesting topic. Like I'm currently DPO, that is Data Protection Officer, in the entity. But honestly, like this has not been okay. So if you don't know, just to make sure you don't on the same direction, GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation. So this is basically it's a law that is was by the European Parliament, and it was adopted in since 2016, but it's been in force since last year. So we've been basically now we're going to like strong on GDPR implementation in every entity, and really reality what we have is a checklist of things we need to implement, going from well interaction, of course, legal, branding, marketing, and here I have the checklist for each one of them. Then we have talent management, partnerships, and systems. So reality here in Costa Rica, we do not manage a lot of information systems. So some of the points here are not completely applied to us, but still we do have a lot of problems with GDPR implementation. Our current status is we do have just 3.25 GDPR implementation because it simply has not been a focus right now. Like the entity has been more focused on uh, financial education and finance standards implementation, other like GDPR. But is do going to like is my project to make it a focus for this semester and have, of course, a higher GDPR implementation. What is done until now is basically we updated our compendium to have the GDPR policies, and basically this current bottlenecks, of course, goes here is the education and the network, and then yes, and also like the other part of legal, that is the things we're going to run right now and be having ready for at least February. Okay, so for example, I remember that one of the questions run in the spreadsheet about GDPR was basically also how is the government acting right now on the GDPR. Currently, we do have, of course, not the name is not GDPR, but we do have laws for data protection in Costa Rica. So we do are also looking for the compliance in this, and their next and but yes, basically this we still haven't had any other like migration or visas stuff that has been changed due to GDPR currently in our country. But also something that has happened about GDPR is we've been having to update our contracts with our partners with a lot of confidentiality and data protection. So we're also having that in mind with especially with partners. Okay. But yes, GDPR is one of the biggest things we do have to improve and focus on this year. Then also financial model. So to explain a little of the financial model we have in this year is okay, we changed the financial model in August, so in my terms. Okay, so basically the current financial model is a hybrid model. So basically it was based on Romanian financial model. Like we like did a lot of research on financial models on like having in other entities, and we came up with this mixture between the previous financial model and this other one from Romania. So basically, what we have is we have two fees. We have a fixed fee and a variable fee. So we have a fixed fee that is calculated every semester based on four criteria. I'm going to show to you the different fees right now and the next slide. And what happens is this is based on um, performance, exchange, membership, and other stuff. And this is the minimum fee you should pay. Each LC should pay monthly. Okay. Then we have a variable fee that is based on product performance. So we have like is like this is more like a royalty model. Okay. So each from each exchange we have a special like a certain percentage that goes from the MC, and this percentage starts summing up for every approve or realization each LC has. Okay. And what happens is they pay whichever fee is the highest. So it's if the fee is the minimum, and if they go higher, then they will pay the variable fee. So what's the point of this? The fixed fee was made to have a little more of financial stability and cash flow stability for the MC, which didn't happen in before, and also to set up the bar for performance in the LC. So we really want to empower like achievement of the goals and growth like through also the financial model. And the variable fee is the point of when you get the variable fee and you're going to pay variable fee, even though you do pay at a higher fee, this is where you're getting the highest percentage of each approve or realization you're doing. Okay, so the otherwise you're paying more to the MC percentage in the percentage if you are paying fixed fee. So you get more profit in the variable fee. So this is like trying to encourage if you do get more and have more approvals, more realizations, you do are going to have more profit. Okay. So and you could see also the document of how it was presented in legislation and the copy of the Excel spreadsheet about this in the resource hub as well. Okay, so the change management plan works for this. When we first started, the entity's fees covered less than 50% of the MC budget, and the other came from PD and GT contributions, especially GT. Okay, so in the first semester, last semester, what we said is for percentage of the MC budget covered by the LFs annually. Okay, so we went from less than 50% that is here in the first semester last year, like didn't change much, it just changed like the distribution monthly. To go in this semester is going to be a little bit over 50, then you're going to almost 60 to go until 80%. That is our goal. Okay, to have most of the MC budget covered by the LCs. And also of course this goes with a lot of strategies like product strategies behind. Like we do want to, for example, downscale IGT on a local level for them to have more profit. Also want to have more expansion, so the MC budget has a distribution between more entities, and the fees are not that high. But this is why also the change management is in such a long term. Okay, to manage these other strategies that are necessary for it to work. Then fixed fee, these are the criteria. So the highest percentage goes for exchange history, and we measure OGV in approves and ICX in realizations because we get paid OGV in approves and ICX gets paid in realizations. Okay, so this is why. Then we have LC status, full membership, probation, and expansions. So each one pay a different percentage of fixed fee. So the full members pays the whole fee of this percentage, and then we goes for probation and expansions. And we have, for example, financial politics that complement this model. So it says, like, for example, if you cannot pay for whatever fee for probation or expansion, okay, so it has a certain period of time. Then we have financial indicators, so we go for months of reserves and the percentage of membership. So this is all of these things are like to encourage certain stuff. So the financial indicators are mostly like to make the LCs be in the range between 3 months, 6 months, or a little bit more than 6 months of financial reserves. And also, for example, like the members to encourage them to have productive members. So productive members that makes them have approvals and have performance for them to be able to pay. And because if not, they have too many ghost members or however you call it in your entity, they're going to pay more and they're not going to be producing. Okay. And then, for example, this one was for the first semester, like these are the fees, and these are the fees for the second semester. Are going to be legislated next week. And these ones are just projections, so they're not currently there, but just some projections. Okay, and there's going to be also soon included another LC we recently opened. Okay, but let's just start from the next year. And also like the cost by product, so this is for each product. So of course you see OGT and OG are not included because we do not want it actually, but all the other ones are included, and IGT is mostly included, is included here just in case, but we actually do not run on the local level IGTs, but it's planned to be in some future. Okay. Um, for example, something interesting that is that here what we did is that we are not dividing the whole fee between MC and LC. What we are dividing is the profit according to the standardized cost. So we say the standardized cost of an OGV is $45 and what else, and the profit is the other and is the rest, and the rest is divided 50-50. Okay, and this is what we do with every product. Okay, so for example, in everything that is like ICX goes most for the LC because they will be running the experience or delivery, so they have the most of the costs. Okay, and we divide profits. So this is a way we are trying to make sure that when they are paying the MC fee, they will be having enough to cover the direct cost, but also like contributing to the MC fee and having money for indirect costs. Okay, so this is why. Okay, so this is the last part. I'm going to okay, main strategies we're having today that I do think they will be good to continue or have an evolution. So I'm going to mention six. So this is first is national allocation cycle, then funds model, pricing and standardization, investment framework, financial model and evolution, and product strategies. So the first one is national allocation cycle. So this semester we're having two national allocation cycles for finance that I'm running both. So this is you don't have to read like you can have the tool later if you want. You can ask me for it, but just for you to have a more or less idea. But we have national allocation cycles for financiers. This is the biggest one for, let's say, more complex, like more functional knowledge and how to. And we're running also a national allocation cycle for finance for everyone. Okay, so basically more general knowledge and more also like how to work with finance. And some parts are like for LCPs or for EVs, other for all members, and it depends. Okay, so this is very, I think, good strategy that we're really missing a lot, and I do think it needs to be continued. Then the funds model. So let's say I'm going to explain. It's basically a model when we're trying to divide the the amounts we have in our bank accounts into operative fund, investment fund, and reserves fund for LCs, and events fund for MC also. So to have this division, it was very conceptual last semester. Like the VPs had the knowledge of it, but we didn't have like tools or actually things to manage it. We will the point is to make it part of the financial model, and we have a tool in progress to make it more clear and more easy to track. Okay. um, cool. Then here, if you don't know what it's a fund model, because I know maybe some of the people watching this is not um, exactly familiar. What happened is, okay, you may have all this money in your account, but it doesn't mean that you have this amount to spend. So the point is how you divide this in wait, fuck. Okay, sorry. That was me trying to see whether the sound was correct. I'm sorry. And then, yes, to see, and we can divide it between your incomes go divided with first with MCP, then operative, then investments, and then reserves. So we are trying to here and not say not to spend more than we have, and not also not to be just saving and saving and saving, not using the money to actually growth in operations. That is also like the final objective. Then pricing and standardization. So we have this for OGV, IGV, IGE. We're having a standardized cost. We're currently revising the ones for IGV because of the social business strategy I told you before. Also, is the thing is included in the LC budgets for 19.1. So it was also like some kind of guide for them. this was for, doing one for IGT is the next step for us, also for IGT. And the point is also told you before is to have it included in the financial model. So this is OGV. I'm just going to explain exactly like which one of the costs. So basically like operative cost and also goes operative margin. So this is like for indirect costs that could go for the entity and then investments and reserves. Okay. And this goes also for IGV. For the IGV, you can see we don't have, this is currently the just the TNP we're having for $60. As you see, it does not give you enough for investment or reserves, but the point is of having also payment from the our stakeholders to be able to have this as well. Okay, and then IGE, which as you see also like the fees, like also gives you a lot for use investment and reserves. And I told you the sustainability problem of IGE is the late payments of partners. It's not exactly the product or the experience or delivery. And then investment framework. Okay, so the investment framework is a very, very new strategy. Actually, is still, as you see, in the investigation phase. Basically, the thing is, it pretends to answer the questions for the EVs and how to invest. Like, how do I run an investment? What is an investment? What is to spend? How do I calculate return of investment? And this kind of questions there have not very clear. And it will be downscaled at the end of February, and that's what we will have. So when it's ready, you will see it. Um, one of the main projects right now. And so, okay, then financial model evolution. So as you see, it's a 2-year change management plan, but doesn't mean that it's fixed. Okay, I do think we can have a little improvements on this, mostly to include more financially the health indicators for the LCs to see on their calculation of their fixed fee. Then includes funds model and pricing inside the financial model, and to include some kind of criteria for financial reality and exchange performance. Because yes, we're having um, like this uh, model that changes every semester, but how can we have a plan in case we're having like low experience performance, or if we're having high experience performance, can we change, can we go deep next, and this kind of criteria inside the model. Okay, and finally, some product strategies. I'm going to share with you the product strategies regarding finance that are going to be that are being like the most successful. So first, as I told you, IGV as a social business. This is a very ongoing new strategy for IGV sustainability. There's very, very high bottleneck right now. Also, having the experience budget planning is it was very good for some LCs that the LCs that implemented it correctly had very good results regarding the sustainability of the delivery they gave. Then the OGV, the Black Friday campaign strategy. So I'm going to explain to you what we did in Black Friday. It was since August, we have a expectations alignment with our LCs that we were going to have on Black Friday. So we have a base price that we went from $350 to $250 for a discount for Black Friday. But the condition was if your LC could manage to achieve at least 80% of their goals in the months of September and October, that are very like high months in productivity in terms of OGV, you will get an extra discount from the MC as for $200. Okay, so you will have extra from us. So why we did this is like the why behind this is like if the LC managed to have this amount of uh, achievement percentage of their goal, it means that they will probably have um, a very stable cash flow in terms of we will be able to cover not having this income of the $50 per approve they're going to have in Black Friday. So this is why. Okay, and also to encourage, as I told you, everything we do as back office here is also very orientated for health in the organization, but also to project performance. We do focus a lot on achievement of the goals. Then IGE, we really have good results having the package campaign, like having volume sales, because selling in volume reduces your cost and also gives you like less work to instead of having to sell to a lot of startups, you can sell to only one, a lot of EPITs, and you have just one delivery to give. And then IGT, the pricing standardization is something we're working on right now, and the financial management process given to an ESG has been also like a good strategy from the MC world because we do manage IGT just at MC. And finally, the last thing I really wanted to give you with on is something that has been most like my motto coming to finance, and it's something I really looking for like in my successor is like we as an MC we have ambitions. So first comes ambitions, then we have strategies to go to the ambitions, and our resources, our finances are made to execute, not just is not on the other way. So this is a very like motto in my life as an MCPP finance, and I'm really looking forward to someone who can continue through this. Okay, and I will go to questions. Actually, all of the questions that were in the spreadsheet, I answered them in the PPT. So I'm not going to go through them. I'm just going to check if you will have questions in the chat right now. Inside. Mm, mm, okay. I don't think if I have questions, I answered the questions that were in the spreadsheet before, so I really think it was a good space for you. I know it was a kind of, no, I think it was good for you. And yeah, thank you for being here. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate to approach me or my MC team. We will be very glad to like answer to all of your doubts. And thank you. Mhm.